Good morning. I, Salim, Assistant Professor in Kite Group of Institutions, presenting you functional elements of an instrument. Functional elements of an instrument measurement system are primary sensing element, variable conversion element, variable manipulation element, signal conditioning element, and data transmission element, and last data presentation element. So here is the block diagram of functional element of measurement system. Here first, primary sensing element, the quantity or the variable which is being measured makes its first contact with the primary sensing element of the measurement system. The measurement is thus first detected by primary sensor or detector. The measurement is then immediately converted into an analogous electrical signal. This is done by a transducer. This output is then converted into an electrical signal by this transducer. This is true of most of the cases but is not true for all the cases. In many cases, the physical quantity is directly converted into an electrical quantity by a detector transducer. The first stage of a measurement system is known as detector transducer stage. Then we have a variable conversion element. The output signal of the variable sensing element may be any kind. It could be mechanical or electrical signal. It may be a deflection of elastic member or some electrical parameter such as voltage, frequency, pulse, etc. Sometimes the output from the sensor is not suitable or not suited to the measurement system. For the instruments to perform the desired function, it may be necessary to convert this output signal from the sensor to some other suitable form while preserving the information content of the original signal. For example, suppose the output from the sensing element is in the form of very small displacement, which is difficult to measure mechanically. It is converted into corresponding electrical signal with the help of transducer called strain gauge for further processing. Also, if the output of one stage is analog form and the next stage of the system accepts input signal only in digital form, in that cases we generally use analog to digital converters. In many instruments, variable conversion element is not required. Some instruments or measuring systems may require more than one element. Then we have variable manipulation element. Then third, we have variable manipulation element. Variable manipulation means a change in numerical value of the signal. The function of variable manipulation element is to manipulate the signal presented to this element while preserving the original nature of the signal. For example, a voltage amplifier acts as a variable manipulation element. The amplifier accepts a small voltage signal as input and produce an output signal which is also voltage but of greater magnitude. The variable manipulation element could be either placed after the variable conversion element or it may be precede the variable conversion element. Then we have signal conditioning element as shown in the block diagram. This is not shown in the block diagram. Signal conditioning, the output signal of transducers contain information which is further processed by the system. Many transducers develop usually a voltage or some other kind of electrical signals, and quite often the signal developed is of very low voltages, may be of order of millivolt or microvolt. In that cases, we have to amplify our signal, or we have to use signal conditioning in our cases. While processing a signal, there are some noises added into our signal from the environment. To remove these type of noises, we also use signal conditioning. The solution of these type of noises is to prevent or remove the signal contamination or distortion. The operations performed on the signal to remove the signal contamination or distortion is called signal conditioning. Many signal conditioning processes may be linear, such as amplification, attenuation, integration, differentiation, addition and subtraction. Some may be non-linear processes such as modulation, filtering and clipping, etc. Then we have data transmission element. There are several situations where the element of an instrument are actually physically separated. Means sensing part of the instrument at one place and the measuring part or its another part is at different place. In such situations, it becomes necessary to transmit data from one element to another element. The element that performs this function is called a data transmission element. For example, satellites or the airplanes are physically separated from the control stations at Earth. These are the example of data transmission. For guiding the movements of satellites or the airplanes, control stations send the radio signals by a complicated telemetry systems. The signal conditioning and transmission stage is commonly known as intermediate stage. This is called intermediate stage. Then we have functional element of a clinical thermometer. This is the picture of a thermometer. In this case, the thermometer bulb containing mercury act as primary sensing element as well as variable conversion element. It senses the input quantity, which is the temperature. On account of the increase in temperature, the mercury in the bulb expands and its volume is increased. The temperature signal is converted into volume displacement. As the mercury expands, it moves through the capillary tube in the thermometer stem integrated to the bulb. The cross-section area of the capillary being constant, the volume signal is thus converted into linear distance signal. The capillary thus has the role of signal manipulation. Here, signal manipulation part is performed by the capillary, and data transportation element also act as data transportation element. The final data presentation stage consists of the scale of the thermometer stem, which is calibrated to give the indication of the temperature signal applied to the thermometer bulb. The restriction band is provided in the clinical thermometer at the junction of the bulb and the capillary, which does not allow the backflow of the mercury to the bulb once it has expanded to the capillary. This is all about functional element. Thank you.